This episode of the DJ Force X podcast is proudly sponsored by Fixed. Fixed is a fan and artist-friendly independent record label that specialises in hybrid electronic rock. It's home to the likes of Celduella, Blue Starly, I Will Never Be the Same, Richie Nix, The Algorithm, Voicians, CD Akira, and a whole bunch more. Check out their latest label sampler for just $1 at their official store, fixedstore.com. That's F-I-X-T store.com. Save 10% off your first order by using my coupon code FORCEX. That's F-O-R-C-E-X. They have loads of shirts, hoodies, stickers, posters, and many other accessories for all their artists, and this is available worldwide with fantastic international shipping rates to go with that. So head over to fixedstore.com and check them out. And don't forget, use my coupon code FORCEX. Hello and welcome to the DJ Force X podcast, episode 35. I am joined by Ty and Provo. They are from the band Everybody Panic. They've got a new EP out now called Attack. Go check it out. It's on all the streaming sites. It's on all the download, Bandcamp, iTunes, Amazon, all that kind of stuff. Go check it out. It's a great EP. If you're fans of like Seven Dust, Deftones, Nothing More, those type of bands, yeah, go check them out. It's really cool. It was a really cool interview. We recorded it live down in St. Pete, Florida, by State Theatre. They were playing with Head P that night. And, yeah, unfortunately, I didn't get to go to the show afterwards. I had some other things that came up. But by all accounts, it was a great show. So just so you know, there is some quality drops in there just because we're sharing a microphone in a tour bus with the aircon running. So just a preemptive, like, this quality sucks type thing. Yes, it's not great, but, you know, you do what you can. You want to get these bands on here, and that's what we got to do. So, yeah, rate and review. Well, not a great segue, but a segue nonetheless. Rate and review this show. Rate and review all my shows. Go on to iTunes. Give it a 5-star review. Go on to Stitcher. Give it a 5-star review. Go on to Deezer. Go on to wherever you get your podcast from. Just leave a comment. Just leave a sentence. Something. Just to say how you enjoyed it. You picked up on a particular band, or you're an existing fan of the band and enjoyed the interview. Anything like that helps. Just follow the link on the iTunes. Go on there, and within iTunes it gives you the option to rate and review the podcast or even the music that you listen to as well. So go on there, just sign in with whatever account you have on there, and just please, it helps. Everything helps to get this podcast up and running on the charts, in iTunes, all that kind of stuff. But yeah, things this week, not much has really happened. Looking forward to E3 this next coming week. And if you're listening to this at Download Festival this weekend, because it comes out this weekend. Firstly, thank you. Why the fuck are you listening to a podcast? You should be out watching the bands, but if it is like late at night and you're trying to drown out people screaming Slayer constantly, I remember the festival days where at 3 o'clock in the morning, one person screams Slayer, then the whole damn field do the same thing. But yes, enjoy it. Check out all the bands. Plenty of them playing. Few guests I've had on the show as well. But yeah, enjoy yourself. Stay safe. And as I said on my social media, just rock the fuck out. Anyway, yes, I'm going to take you on to the interview now. So please enjoy. I'd like to welcome Ty, singer of a band called Everybody Panic, to the show this week. Welcome, Ty.
Hey, everybody. Yeah.
Cool. So how you doing today?
Amazing.
Excellent. Brilliant. So for the benefit of my listeners, because a lot of them are based across the pond, can you give me some background on your band?
Yes. My band is called Everybody Panic. We, me and Provo, the guitar player, we started writing for this project in late 2011, and it really came to fruition in 2012. That was the End of the World party. That was like the Mayan calendar end. So that was really when it started. And that was our first EP, and now we've got a second EP that's out. We've been together now for about 5 years. Now. What year is this? And and so we got signed a couple years ago to CaviGold Records, and that really changed the game for us and allowed us to have a little bit more power to do what we're doing. And we were able to record in Robert Lang's studios in Seattle, where Nirvana recorded last, and a bunch of great bands, Foo Fighters, all sorts of great bands have recorded there. So it's been really, really cool. So that's kind of where we're at today. We're pushing that record, and so it's been a fun trip.
Yeah, no, I should introduce Provo.
Oh no, no, not this guy here. Yo,
but yeah, he sat right next to you. Sorry, it's all good, but we're sharing microphones, so. So what's your perspective on that? Pretty much the same. Like,
we like you said, started in 2011 and just really spent the first years just trying to hone a sound between the two of us, and just building anything we could to have a leg to stand on when it was time to actually start playing shows. And then from there we had some amazing shows to start, and we're still getting a lot of amazing stuff. Like our first show was sold out. We got signed on our third show, which we got to open up for Deftones.
Nice.
Sold out show. We got invited out with Five Finger Death Punch for a week. Them and Gemini Syndrome and Miss May I, and we've been very fortunate to have a lot of cool opportunities handed to us from.
Yeah, I mean those are some big name bands, especially early in your career. To get those opportunities is amazing.
Yeah.
So where would you say your influences lie? I mean, I can hear. I'll just go from what I've heard on the Attack EP. So. Seven Dust, Deftones.
Oh yeah,
those sort of bands.
Seven Dust, Deftones, Tool,
Incubus, stuff like
Little
that.
Incubus. I mean, just anything, man. Good music. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
We listen to. There's such a wide variety that I feel like all of it's had a little part of what becomes us at the end of the day. You know what I mean? But big influences, we've talked about before was family. Both of our families were very musical, and so it's like. That was the first influence we had. My dad was taking me to bars when he was playing when I was a tiny boy, you know what I mean? Like, okay, don't go by the bar, stay in the back, I'll come get you later, that type of thing. So it's like our whole lives we've grown up around music. So it's like life and everything we've been through and other bands and everything has just all kind of brought us to where we are, I feel.
Yeah, I was going to say, were you in previous bands before?
Oh, yeah, we've had a handful of different ones.
In particular, or were they just more...
I was in a band called Ricketts that toured a little bit and released a couple records, and then I was also in Skin Lab for a little while.
Oh, really?
Yeah, just until recently, and we were out, we did a handful of tours and did some stuff with that, and so...
Yeah, my previous band, we supported Skin Lab in the UK.
Oh, awesome.
That was... How long ago was that?
Yeah, before me, I never got to go to the UK with them.
Oh, okay. That was probably about 15 years ago.
Yeah.
I think, but it was...
I joined Skin Lab in 2010 when Ricketts, my old band, had fallen apart.
Okay.
And we started doing some things, and I was originally looking for a singer for what turned into Everybody Panic.
Yeah.
And I had approached Steve from Skin Lab, like, hey, you want to sing on some of these demos I got, see what happens? And he ended up coming to me like, how about you just come play guitar for us? I was like, all right, cool, it's something to do. And then, Ty ended up coming along in the middle of that, and so we started working on things from there.
Yeah. So those early shows, how did they just come about? Was it just through, like, the connections you already had, or was it... Because obviously after the third show, getting signed is quite a big... jump.
We've made a lot of good connections and good friends throughout the years. Like the Deftones show was literally the radio station, our hometown rock station, pulling for us. Some of our friends there, like, heard through the grapevine that it was supposed to be Deftones and Periphery, and Periphery had to drop off for whatever reason, and they just knew of us and were like, went to the promoters like, you guys have to put this band on there. This is the band you need. You need another band. Put them on there. So. It's really been about the connections and the friends that we've made, with some of these people we've known, like from the radio station, he's known forever, you know what I mean? So it's people that have had our back before, but really now have started coming out of the woodwork and really helping push, you know what I mean?
It's really cool. That's
absolutely.
Really cool that you can, because that's what it's about, I think, like making those connections with people to...
Absolutely.
It's like any good like circle or scene, everyone's pushing everybody.
One thing we like to say a lot is together we can make it. Yeah. And that's a big part of it, man. All of us together, fighting for the same cause is more powerful than just one of us, for sure.
Yeah. And tonight you're playing with Head P in St. Pete, as we're here now in your tour bus in downtown St. Pete, Florida. Yeah, so you're playing with Head P. You've got a bunch of our local bands on there as well. So we've got quite a good little scene around here, from what I've been aware of, not part of, but I've noticed a lot of the local bands are really good at pushing these shows, selling tickets and stuff like that as well. So yeah, we got like a little thriving scene around here. But
it seems really cool. They all seem really nice. So you can tell right as soon as you walk in the kind of place that it is. It's a very musically rich place. You can tell.
Yeah. This area is very very arty, I think is the word.
Love it.
Yeah, there's a lot of street art. There's a lot of like, just like general sort of development of the artistic side of things around here, which is quite rare in some cases. Some cities,
yeah,
you don't see it.
We're actually from Oklahoma, and it's kind of rare there. Now it's getting better as the years have gone, but yeah, it's not rock music art. Yeah, it is art. See, you're right. And I mean, now, like he was saying before, the fact that we're doing as good as we are really comes from the kind of push that we do get back home. Oklahomans are special when it comes to, and when they get behind something, like we got a basketball team finally there, and everybody's like, oh, whatever, but we have like the loudest crowds in the world for basketball. It's because when we do decide to get behind something, we really get behind it.
Yeah.
And, we are blessed and fortunate that they have taken us, the Oklahomans themselves have taken us under their wings and pushed us like they have, because that's where the major push in the beginning came from, is from them, And so, yeah, it's just, we're glad to be Oklahomies.
Excellent. So how's this tour been so far? I don't know how many dates you've done of this leg. 6?
Where am I? Who am I? What's going on? Well, we were on tour with them and Powerman 5000 before this, and we took a little break, and that tour was amazing too, but anytime we play with Head PE, it's just an honor, man. Jared is he is a master front man. He's able to do things with the crowd and get the crowd into it in a way that most people just can't. And so to have him, and he's really taken me under his wing and stuff the last tour and on this one. And so to have him helping us and help mold who we are it's real, special,
Yeah.
And so I just feel honored to have him on our team, like that.
Yeah,
super
really
cool. And all the bands so far, I can't speak for tonight, obviously, but every opening act that we've had that were even local and stuff like that on this tour has been really amazing, like a real joy and pleasure to watch, Sometimes it's a little brutal out there, when you go to in some circuits, they'll have some opening bands, which we all need those bands too.
Yeah.
But through this tour, everybody's really been super uber good. So we've really been blessed to have this tour.
Excellent. How was the Powerman 5000 leg as well? Was that good?
It was pretty awesome. You want to talk about it? Here,
tell me.
Yeah, that one was great too. It was, I'm pretty sure at least half of the shows were sold out. It was, every night was a great show, and it was, 2 or 3 days off in 3 weeks. So, keeping it rolling how we would prefer. We hate taking days off. It's like, day off is a waste of time. Let's get back to work. So it was incredible. One of my old guitar players plays for Powerman 5000 now, and that was like our first real introduction to the Head PE camp. They brought us out on that tour and went to bat for us, but it was an incredible tour, and same goes for this one. Jared and Head PE really pushed to get us out on this, and it's been incredible, you know what I mean?
They've always put on a good show whenever I've seen them.
They kill it, man. They just sound so big live. And
I was fortunate enough to play with them a couple of times in England, so it was...
and then they have their little breakdown moments of reggae or whatever that they just jam. Like the other night, they had a saxophone player from... I don't even think they knew the guy. They met him outside, and he came in and jammed with them and just killed it. It was like, nice. They have these moments in the show where it's just like, let's just see what happens type thing. And like Ty was saying, Jared and that whole band are definitely pros, and know how to put on a great show. And
they've been going for a while.
Yeah, they show a good time and make sure everybody has a good time with them. So
my teenage years, I remember that first album.
Oh yeah, I saw them. I saw them open up for Slayer. It was System of a Down and Head PE opening up for Slayer. Wow. The weirdest lineup you would ever hear of, but it was insane, and that was off that first record. And it was just. Yeah. They still just kill it, man. Such a great band.
Excellent. That's good to hear. So, your current EP is called Attack. It is available. It came out last year, in fact, end of last year.
Yeah, October, on Halloween, actually.
So, I've listened to it a few times. I really dig Our Last Goodbye, first track.
Awesome.
And No One Gets Out Alive.
Yeah.
It's 2 tracks that really sort of stand out for me. It's a strong EP as well. I'm not discounting the other tracks. I'm just saying. Yeah.
No, those are 2 of our favorites. Our Last Goodbye is one of my favorites to play. It's just super high energy. It's fun to jam, man.
Really good opener for the EP. So, what made you decide to do an EP as opposed to an album? Because you did an EP before. That obviously got you.
Our whole plan was kind of just to stick with EPs. Like in this day and age, it's kind of the Wild West out here in the music business. Like nobody knows how to work it anymore or what to do anymore. So our plan was just kind of like, okay, so let's not just dump a record and then disappear for 2 years. Let's try to release an EP every year. You know what I mean? 5 or 6 new songs a year. Push it as hard as we can and just keep music flowing. Keep us writing, which is going to make us better. Just keep, originally our goal was to write 6 songs. You know what I mean? Let's write 6 songs, one every other month, and let's do something else in between those. You know what I mean? To help build our name. So. It was just, we really wanted to try something different and try to keep music flowing as opposed to the standard model of you release a record and then you tour for it for 2 years and then you kind of get lost in the shuffle because you haven't released anything in so long. And so that was our goal, was to just keep pushing music, you know what I mean? Just write as much as we can, push as much songs out as we can, and just keep that idea flowing so that our name's always kind of there,
Yeah, no, that makes sense. I mean, I've interviewed a fair few artists across various genres, and they all have their own sort of plan of how they release stuff. Like you guys have got EP a year. I interviewed a couple of artists that are doing something every couple of months, like releasing 2-3 tracks. Yeah, and then at the end of the year, compiling them as an album. But
I've heard of that as well.
You know, that kind of, so you keep that because obviously the way people consume music now is very
there's
different.
So much.
It's not like going out to a record store, picking up record and then listening to that on a loop.
Yeah,
it's all shuffle.
Yeah.
So as long as you're part of that shuffle, you're within their scope, if you will. Exactly. And then I got other people in sort of more like heavier bands, like sludge, kind of like hardcore type stuff, and they're releasing albums and they're actually selling the CDs because the consumers of that particular genre want physical product. Whereas,
we sell a lot of CDs, but it's really just on tour. As long as we're on tour, we're selling CDs, man. We sold 1,000 CDs of our first EP before even touring. We were just doing shows here and there and stuff like that. But it's like the CD hasn't died as long as you're touring.
Yeah.
There's no stores to put them in anymore.
No.
But if you're out touring, people still want that. They want something that you can sign and that they can look at and they can hold in their hand. And we also have like some flash drive cards that we started offering because we ran out of CDs just as a necessity. Like, what do we have? And our label had sent us all these flash drives, and it's like, well, let's put a bunch of extra stuff and whatever we can fill these things up with.
Yeah.
And people like those too, just because it's something different. But I still see the CD sales haven't really disappeared as long as you're on tour, and it's something that you can get in their hands,
Yeah, it's something they have to be there to buy it.
Absolutely.
People don't go out and pick them up as such anymore.
No, they'll get it on iTunes or something at home, but then they'll come see you and be like, oh, I want this, you know? So.
Yeah. Cool. So tell me the story behind the EP. Got some of the tracks I mentioned.
We just make it up as we go.
Yeah.
No. We recorded in Robert Lang Studios, which is supposedly haunted. And Provo here is a Pro Tools engineer and a producer. And so he was the one that produced our record. And so we were able to go into this place for 2 weeks, and they locked the doors and left us in there alone in this haunted studio. And so a lot of the vibe of that record, I think, comes from just trying to dig in there and trying to really just, breathe the air and just feel that vibe. And it comes off, I think, in the record. Now, that doesn't mean that if I go and I play someplace that's really, really, brightly lit or whatever, that there's not still going to be dark moments. But I think it was darker because of just the environment that we were in. It was Robert Lang Studios is built into the side of a mountain, kind of, and into the ground, like in a missile silo type fashion. Yeah. And so the guy just keeps digging down, building more stuff down, and there's no windows or anything in there, so it's like always the same time of day kind of feeling,
Yeah.
So we would just get in there and work and work and work, and then it's like I said, it's like this weird castle type feeling in there. So we would, when we weren't working, we would have fun in there and just kind of run around and play with ideas and stuff. But the cool thing is having Provo allows us to write in a different way than some other bands do, because some bands, they're trial and erroring it in the garage and all these things, where we have the ability to sometimes just do stuff on the fly, which turns out really, really cool.
Yeah.
One of our songs, Into This Darkness, we didn't have anything for it. We had a little bit of techno pieces, right? And we went out there, and then in a couple of days, we had all of it. We just put it all together right there on the spot.
Nice.
And that's typically not You're not able to do that, especially if somebody's breathing down your neck and you're watching the clock for time and stuff. You know, it's a little bit different. So that's why I like the relationship that we have, is because, you know, he knows me and I know him, and there's no like pressure. Well, I mean, there's always pressure, but there's no pressure from like the outside entities, you know.
Yeah,
and so that helps.
No deadline as such. I mean, you can set your self-imposed deadline, but to work on it, you don't have to be spending money in a studio, so to speak.
Right. Mm-hmm.
Having, like, obviously being Pro Tools engineer, you could, like, with my rig here, we can record something like I am right now.
Makes it pretty easy, you know.
And that's what's great. I had the same experience with my previous musical endeavors of having an engineer or producer as part of the band.
Yeah.
And it does make the world a difference, because you suddenly get an idea. You don't have to put a voice memo on your phone.
Right, exactly. Although we do that pretty much. That's still pretty much how it's done, by the way.
Yeah,
all the Pro Tools stuff in the world, and we're still pulling out our phones, just voice memo.
Yeah, I was chatting to someone the other day, and they were like, they should release a compilation album of the voice memos of musicians.
It's funny. He would laugh at me, both records, when we were recording or just coming up writing with him. I would literally be sending him voice or like videos of me playing the part, like, what do you think of this? Or like starting to build it. And he's like, bro, you have like one of the coolest studios in the state. You have all this amazing gear and you're sending me video chats. Like, what is this, man? It's like, I work in there all day. Let me be creative on something simple, and then we'll go in there and get it to the point it needs to be. Yeah. But yeah, absolutely. Being able to do that, and that's why I started recording, is to be able to record my own band. And so even if it comes to a point where we ever start hiring other producers and stuff, we can still just show up completely prepared. Like, here is a complete demo of what we've worked on, and we all are on the same plan of this is what has to be done. Nobody's coming in there, what's my parts or anything like that. It's like it's all laid out before we get to the studio. Yeah. For the most part, like you said, we did a few things on the fly as well on this one, but that gives you more time to do stuff like that and be creative in the studio when you come in knowing everything else is in its place. Yeah. Now we can kind of have fun with it and, you know, see what happens kind of from there.
When you're happy with it. So
absolutely.
So the electronic element in the band as well, on the EP, is that something you did on your first one? Because I haven't heard the first one.
It was a little less. We kind of dabbled in it. My old band Ricketts was like a very electronic industrial rock type thing. So it was a lot of that in that band. And then I came to this, we kind of just stripped it down, and we had a little bit of that element. Like, we had one song that was very electronic on it, and then it was like very minuscule parts throughout the rest of it. But it was something that once we were done, it was kind of like, man, you know, I wish we would have added some more of that and maybe sat down and at least entertained the idea of let's throw some, you know, electronics or something. And so this time we had a little bit more time and just, you know, like, let's just sit down and see what we can come up with. So we sat and dug and just, you know, dug until we found something we liked for everything. Some parts don't have stuff, some parts do, but I feel it added a cool texture to everything, you know what I mean?
It does.
It's not really a lot of it's not really like out in the forefront type stuff. It's just kind of that underneath grit and extra movement going on behind the music that just adds something that most of us playing a guitar or bass can't really do.
Yeah, my music radio show, bar this, specializes in electronic rock.
Oh yeah.
So it's either bands that have that element in them, or it's remixes of.
Yeah, I've always been a fan of that. Like, Fear Factory was one of my favorites. Like, they were the extremes of electronic metal. They were just had that everywhere. Yeah, we have actually our whole new EP is being remixed. We have a couple of them that we've had a few different DJs and different just electronic artists. I made stems of everything, so I was like, let's just see what happens. And we've gotten 2 backs, well, actually 3. We just got one today that I haven't even got to hear yet. But yeah, I've heard it's really cool, and
nice. Oh, well, I look forward to hearing that, because then that would fall into my radio show perfect, because it's literally my radio show is a mix show. So it's done in the style of a nightclub DJ. So it's like
awesome.
You know,
well, we'll get you some copies of it for sure.
Yeah, I mix all this stuff up for an hour. So that would fall perfectly in there. I have played you guys on the show as well. I don't know if you get your Twitter or whatever, and I put up my playlist and stuff. So
awesome.
You'll see it come up on there. So I've got a couple more questions. Then I'll let you guys go, and you can go relax before your show.
No relaxing.
So. You can either answer this combined or separately. So top 3 albums that mold you as the person or musician that you are today. So 3 albums that really made a difference in your life.
3 albums. Interesting. I think it's hard to pick for me, but like Opiate or Undertow, one of those Tool records was pretty influential for me. I think probably Undertow because that's really when I started to understand Tool. I didn't understand them when I first started listening to them. It sounded like kind of chaos. I was a drummer originally, and it sounded kind of chaotic. Didn't really understand. And then there was one time where a long time ago, and I was young, but I was on acid at this party, and Tool got stuck on like a loop or something, right? And everybody else went to bed, and I was up, and by the next morning, I understood. And so that, I think, was a pivotal moment for me, and I really started getting into polyrhythms and things like that, because Danny Carey is so into polyrhythms and stuff. Yeah. And so that was really influential for me. And then I think the second one would be... I like a band called Sleepy Time Gorilla Museum, and I would go see them play live, and that was really influential. Like, their first record was really, really great. And it was weird. They make all their own instruments and stuff, so that was pretty awesome. And to see them on the road and like how they were on the road was really, really cool. And then the other band I think would be Korn.
Yeah.
I mean, their first record. I mean, friends of mine would come in with like videotapes of them playing like bootleg tapes back in the day, you know. Yep. And I would watch them before they just got signed, so they weren't really popular yet. But they like jumped the whole freaking show. I was just like, holy crap! The energy level was just unbelievable to me. Yeah. And so, and when that first record came out, I mean, it was pretty influential. So
cool.
And we actually played Knotfest not too long ago, and they played that first record in its entirety.
Nice.
And I was like a little kid again. It was so freaking awesome. It was great. So yeah, those are my 3. What are your 3?
Excellent.
I'd definitely have to say 9 Inch Nails, which. I mean, it could be any one of those records. I love all of his music, but probably the Downward Spiral where it really started getting dark and like really loopy and, more, it felt more industrial at that point. More like, I don't know, grimy and electronic at that point. So that like Downward Spiral probably is one of the big ones. Fear Factory, Obsolete. That was one of my favorites when I was younger. What else? Probably a Deftones record, like Around the Fur, Adrenaline. Yeah. I mean, that just had that driving sound and, the melodic tinges to the driving heavy riffs, and that whole feel is kind of where I've always kind of gravitated towards, with the electronics involved as well, They didn't really have that back then. They have a little more of it now than they did then, but...
Yeah, I remember
definitely
from about Around the Fur onwards when it really came in.
Like, that's when they really started to bring
the
it in.
ambient sounds they have in there are very... Yeah. Very good. So.
Yeah, those are. I mean, it's hard to pick 3, but those were definitely as a young child. I'm pretty sure I went through many copies of those those albums alone.
Yeah, no, they're all good albums. I can't fault any of those choices. Yeah. So that's all good. So, what are your hobbies away from music? Obviously, do you have anything you do to sort of like, if you ever needed to separate from it for just 5 minutes or whatever? Any hobbies or?
Well, I'm actually the 13th American black belt from the Gracie Academy in Torrance, California. So I'm a professor of Gracie Jiu-Jitsu, and I have a school in Oklahoma that I run there. Yeah. Me and my fiance run it back home. She's actually with us on this tour, helping sell merch. Those Provost girl. It's been amazing. They sell merch way better than us, by the way.
Yeah, no, I remember back in the day, I could never sell merch.
But we actually have mats that we bring with us on tour that are in the trailer, and so I do private lessons sometimes before the shows or seminars in the towns that we're in.
Nice.
So it's a little supplemental income while we're out here on the road, Part of that goes to the band, part of it goes to me, and it's good for everybody, Yeah,
because I know bands that do, or musicians that do lessons and stuff on the road.
Sure.
They got guitar lessons, stuff like that. And so that makes perfect,
And there's a large group of people right now in the music community who are doing jiu-jitsu, like Billy from Biohazard, Maynard from Tool, Johnny from Nothing More, Matt Heffy from Trivium. I mean, the list goes on and on.
Yeah.
And we call this clique or group Rock Jitsu. And so that's like the little thing we've got going. We've been in Jiu-Jitsu Magazine now and some different things. So, but it's a way for us to do something on the road because me and somebody else were just talking about downtimes. Like, I don't know how to deal with the downtime. One of the guys that's here, one of the opening acts, I was like, yeah, you need to find something to occupy your time, or you end up getting onto drugs or drinking too much or doing something crazy, So having jiu-jitsu has been is really good because, it gives me something else to do. And it's also a good balance because you can't always, music is a great, music keeps me from killing myself.
Yeah.
But jiu-jitsu keeps me from killing others.
Yeah.
Provo, your turn.
I don't get an escape. I do music all the time. I go home, I record bands, I record our band. I'm working on our next tour. I wear a lot of hats for our band, so it's like if we're not on tour playing music, I'm trying to get us back on tour playing music or working on new music or recording somebody else's music. So for me, it's like my downtime is I'm going to go take a nap and then wake up and get back to music again.
Fair enough.
Pretty much nonstop for me. So
as long as you're happy if that's occupying your time, you're happy with it. You
absolutely. So it's it's not like I'm just playing guitar all the time. I have a million different things that I do within music, so it kind of keeps it interesting. You know what I mean?
Cool. So finally, where can people reach your band? So websites, Twitter,
all over social media. Any social media, we're on there. Everybody Panic. Just Google us. We're probably all over it. I haven't Googled us in a while, but Facebook is Everybody Panic. Twitter is Everybody Panic 1. On YouTube, we're on just about all of them, man. And,
okay, cool.
Just Instagram, Everybody Panic,
Excellent.
We have a site that's kind of in limbo being built. It's like I get enough downtime to go, that kind of looks cool, try this, and then it takes another month and I can get back to it.
Yeah.
So it's kind of in the works, but, for now, we are definitely all over social media any way we can. Music video, we have videos on YouTube, we have online store. We have all the essential social medias for sure.
Excellent. What's your plan after the Headbeat tour? Are you going off on any more dates? Or
well, this ends for us the 31st, and then we have another 3 weeks of us just running around the country doing some one-offs, basically, just on our own. Which technically this whole run will end on the 18th. We're playing with a big festival in New Hampshire with Seven Dust and
nice.
Ted Nugent and
Steven
Tyler.
It's incredibly
It's insane,
diverse.
man. There's so many different people. So that's going to be incredible. So we have that up to that, and then another couple weeks that we'll go back to OKC for a little bit, and then same thing. We have about a week of some other shows just running around, and we don't have any tours yet that we can officially announce, but there's some big stuff in the works right now for the end of the year. So
excellent.
We're just trying to stay as busy as we can and try to get the next songs written and ready and tour as hard as we can to the end of this year and put something new out as soon as the new year starts. So
excellent. Wow. Thank you very much for your time.
Hey, thank you so much, man.
Ty, thank you.
Absolutely.
Good luck with the show tonight and the rest of the tour. And I hope it does well for you and all that kind of stuff, usual stuff like
Keep
that.
on rocking.
Keep on rocking. That's it.
Thank you, brother.
So so thank you again.
Absolutely. Thank you, man.
Everybody, my name's Ty. I'm from Oklahoma. We're country as fuck out there.
All right,
Hello.
We're getting a signal, so that's all good. All right, I'm gonna keep that though.